Hello, everyone. Welcome to EFT Tapping Stories. I am your host, Joan Kaler. I am beyond thrilled. I am humbled and I am honored to introduce you to my next guest. Gosh. Dr. David Gruder is a pioneer in energy psychology. He co-founded the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, from which I am born. Almost literally. First, my mother birthed me, and then the ACEP birthed me. This is where I learned energy healing. Okay. So, all you therapists out there, check it out, energypsych.org. But I want to give you Dr. Gruder's bio. He is an extraordinary human being, extraordinary gifted writer, teacher, mentor. Oh, he has his PhD in organizational psychology as well as clinical psychology. And it has been my honor to know him since the founding of the Association of Comprehensive Energy Psychology, which I believe was 1999. David may correct me in that, but I want to read you his bio. And if anyone out there is in the C-suite, this is also for you, okay? So this is for everyone. Dr. David Gruder is a clinical and organizational psychologist, an 8 award-winning author, a highly sought speaker, trainer, and trusted advisor. He is the founder and CEO of Integrity Revolution, which helps everyday people to world leaders create sustainable happiness, health, love, and success without sacrificing personal integrity or social responsibility through providing essential psychological skills for extraordinary businesses, leaders, and well-being. Their integrity stimulus plan is a universal, transpartisan, non-denominationally spiritual framework for co-creating integrity-centered, sustainable solutions to the vast challenges we face today as individuals, families, communities, businesses, societies, and a planet. Dr. Gruder, this is not part of his bio, but Dr. Gruder helps us navigate the chaos in our world today. Well into his fourth decade as a Merlin of personal relationship and leadership transformation, Dr. Gruder is internationally acclaimed as a foremost expert in how to reconnect integrity with sustainable happiness, health, and prosperity. A frequent guest on many radio talk shows throughout North America, radio and television interview reports has hailed Dr. Gruder as Americans' integrity expert, a trusted advisor to leaders and businesses. He is oh my goodness, this word. Equanicity, that's the best I could do. Resources faculty member and serves as special counsel to CEO Space International Board and Chairman. In addition to teaching classes for members, providing behind the scenes training programs for faculty, club presidents, and forum staff, and serving on the faculty integrity team. I'm telling you, I don't mess around when it comes to guests on my podcasts, everyone. Dr. Gruder, welcome in.
Well, thank you. I'm kind of overwhelmed listening to the bio. I realize I've got to update that because I'm in my fifth decade now,
Yes.
rather than fourth decade. And you are right about ACEP. ACEP opened to membership in 1999. We actually incorporated it as a nonprofit we got our incorporation papers in December of 1998.
Okay. I figured it was around that time, and I'm one of the beginning members. It's been an incredible journey. I have made lifelong friends and teachers and mentors. So I encourage all licensed therapists and healthcare providers to please go to energypsych.org and investigate what the Association of Comprehensive Energy Psychology can do for you, because as I've said for the past 31 years that I've been a therapist, well, I'll say cancel that. Since 1996, when I was first introduced to thought field therapy, talk therapy alone is not enough. We are energy beings. And as such, if we experience traumas or negative emotions or just stuck, it's in our energy system, people. I'm telling you. Okay, enough for me. So, what I'm thrilled about is, let me get over here because I want to. So, Dr. Gruder said that he would discuss, which I'm excited about. He's going to tell us a story, but he says he'd like to talk about application, particularly how energy psychology methods address the 6 questions all healers and their clients have more fully and methodically than any of the other methods. So, I mean, if that's not intriguing, I don't know what is. David, what are the 6 questions?
Well, what's interesting is that I'm going to share them in a second, but they're very common sense, even though they're not always explicitly put into words. As soon as I name them, you'll see how commonsensical they are. The first is, how do we know when a client is ready to work on a specific issue? The second is, how do we identify the highest leverage, most useful issue to address in this session, in the current session that we're doing? The third question is, how are we going to evaluate progress during the session? Because in real life, the only arbiter of progress is what happens for the client out in the world. But that is information we don't have yet during the session. We need to know how progress is being made during the session so we know how to custom craft the evolution of the work during the session. The fourth is, how do we know when the client's system has actually provided permission to succeed with treating that issue? The fifth question is, what's the most useful treatment method for treating this layer of this issue in this client in this session at this time? And the sixth question is, how do we determine what to do next and next and next as the session unfolds? And how do we know when we're done?
Absolutely. Some of those questions I ask, but I'm going to be asking more. But what are the answers to those questions, Dr. Gruder?
Well, shall we take them one question at a time?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so readiness to benefit from working on a specific issue, that's the first question, is something that all therapists are aware is in play in a generic way. For example, if a client comes into a session and they're all scrambled because there was a bunch of traffic and on the way over and they were stressed that day, they almost certainly are going to need to recenter themselves at the beginning of the session in order to be able to fully focus on the work at hand. So clients don't always come into sessions ready to benefit from working on a specific issue until they're brought into their bodies, they're brought into the present. They're able to set aside other things that have been weighing on their lives in order to focus on whatever is going to be most useful to focus on in that session.
Yes.
However, most therapy methods don't explicitly have ways to unscramble an energy system. So in energy work, we know that clients' overall energy systems can be so um, unharmonious, incongruent, scrambled, ruffled, that until their overall energy system is in a coherent state, they're not going to be in a position to actually work on a specific issue, let alone identify what the most useful issue is to work on.
Yes.
And so energy psychology has a massive number of ways to identify what we call in the energy psychology field systemic energetic interference, SEI, to identify when that's present and to intervene to help a person's overall energy system become congruent enough, become coherent enough so they can work on specific issues.
Beautiful. Yes. Part of my training when I earned my diplomate in comprehensive energy psychology.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So that's the first uh, question. That's the answer basically to the first question.
That's good.
The second question is how do we know what issue to work on? So now the client's energy field is coherent and they've presenced into the session. They're fully here. And so now we're in a position to identify what the most useful issue is to work on during that session. And the challenge that most clients have is what I refer to as the endless problems parade. There's always the crisis du jour, the issue of the day. And it's not that those issues shouldn't be addressed, especially when we have to do psychological, emotional first aid to get those kinds of surface issues out of the way so we can work on deeper issues connected to their well-being. So it's not like those things aren't important, but in this second step, what we do is we identify the most useful issue to work on in this session based on identifying what the most useful goal is to work toward. What's the most useful outcome to work toward in this session? Because setting that true north then narrows down what we might work on in this session in service of making the best possible progress toward attaining that outcome. And this requires a level of, well, I'll borrow a term from business development, master planning, case planning in the context of providing therapy, where we have we and the client, a therapist and the client, have a really clear sense of what the future is that this client wants to step into. And most therapists aren't trained to elicit that information and to help the client stay on track in how they're utilizing the therapy in service of moving toward that future that the client desires to embody.
Of course. I had a little bit of that training at Duquesne, but much, much more so.
Yeah.
I,
And of course, in comprehensive energy psychology, we teach how to identify what we call the priority goal.
yes,
And then inside of that, the priority treatment focus. What is the most useful issue to treat on behalf of progress toward that goal in a given session? So to me, this is just common sense. It's good clinical practice. Energy psychology has methods for back checking information about what the most useful goal is to work on, and what the most useful issue is to address on behalf of moving toward achieving that goal. Is that good with the second?
That's fantastic with the second. And those of us that use insurance, and we can do it all in 55 minutes,
Right.
or attempt to do it all in 55 minutes
Or less.
or less. But hey, oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And as I've been saying, this is common sense. You don't
Yes.
need to be a rocket scientist to understand how much this makes sense. So now we've identified what we're going to work on in the session.
Yes.
Well, we need a baseline. We need a starting point in order to be able to evaluate progress during the session. So we need to be able to identify what the measurement method is going to be. So, for example, if somebody's working on food craving, for example, then we're going to use subjective units of craving to evaluate progress, right?
Nice. Subjective units of credit. Okay.
If they're working on embedding a desired belief or a state of peak performance, we're going to be selecting subjective units of resonance with that desired state,
Beautiful.
right? If they're working on clearing away a trauma, then we're going to be using subjective units of distress related to that trauma,
Okay.
right? So we need to identify the most useful measurement scale to use. And then we need to identify how to evaluate that rating, because for some clients, if giving a number from 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 or 0% to 100%, whatever that might be, giving a rating number for some clients works really well for them. But
Okay.
for our other clients, they just can't plug into numbers. So they need other ways to convey their ratings. So for kinesthetic clients, we might have them use their hands to express how much distress or how little distress, for
Yes.
example, using their hands. Or if they're visual, we might have them imagine a gauge from like the old style fuel gauges in cars,
Yes.
full to empty, and where the needle is pointing on the gauge. So they might be envisioning that. So that's what we do in that third step, is we make sure that we have the right measurement method identified and the right way to make that measurement
Yeah.
for that client.
I know with children, what I'll do is I'll do the hand gestures because it's much too confusing with children to have to come up with a number or even a thermometer. Like, here's a picture of a thermometer. How high, how low, where are you with this?
It's totally true. It's really the best way to do it with children, but with visual or kinesthetic learners who are adults, it's also really valuable.
Excellent. Yes.
So we've identified that, and now with that information, we take a baseline reading. Where is the client now before we start treating the issue? Because we need a basis for comparison in order to evaluate progress in step 6.
Exactly. I tell people this is the only part of me that's connected with science is I want a baseline.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So that's the third item. And a lot of therapists especially if they're not trained in methods like energy psychology methods or EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, or things like that, they're pretty lax in getting a baseline reading.
Oh, well, everyone listening and watching, this can be very helpful. So I hope that you will use this moving forward in your practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I move on to the fourth
Number
step?
four, please.
So the fourth step is securing permission to succeed
Oh,
with treating the issue that's been selected. Because a lot of people would on a conscious level swear on a stack of Bibles, oh, I really want to get this issue addressed.
Yes.
And they're not lying. They're really speaking to the level of conscious awareness they have about wanting to address the issue. But a lot of people don't know that they carry interior objections, subconscious objections to that success, or energy field disruptions that will undermine success with treating the issue, which we in energy psychology refer to as psychological or psychoenergetic reversals,
Hmm. Especially
right?
if there's a personality disorder involved. Oh,
Yeah.
acts too. Yes.
Or when a person has multiple parts, they might not be
Yes.
dissociative identity disorder, what used to be called multiple personality disorder, but all of us have a community of self, unless we're fully enlightened beings. You
Mm.
know, we have, and on an everyday level, we hear people say this when they're faced with making a decision. They'll sometimes say, or will sometimes say, well, part of me wants to say yes to this, and part of me wants to say no.
Yes.
Well, that's not dissociative identity disorder. That's being human,
Right.
right? And so in that fourth step, we identify the part that is saying no to succeeding, and we get that part in line. We do specific interventions that help the client elevate their self acceptance around whatever that objection is. Like if it's not safe for me to get over this problem, or if they're codependent, it's not safe for my loved one to get for me to get over this problem. Just as for instances, there are a lot of different
Right.
objections that could come up. So we I if there are objections in play, we identify what they are in that fourth step, and we treat those so that when we emerge into the actual treatment step, which is step 5, the client's energy field is coherent, and they've given all their full being has given permission to actually successfully address the issue. We've eliminated what in psychology is referred to as resistance.
Full speed ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then that leads to the fifth step, which is identifying and then doing a round of treatment with whatever the most useful treatment method is for this client with this layer of this issue in this session. And you and I are among therapists who love having lots of tools on our tool belt, right?
Yes.
And we also know that sometimes the intervention isn't even a tool on our tool belt. It might be something that's in the client's own repertoire.
Oh, okay.
And occasionally it will actually be an intervention that is in some referral sources repertoire that's not in our repertoire or our client's repertoire. And
Okay.
if our client is spiritually oriented or religiously oriented, the intervention might be in their higher resources tool belt,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So in this fifth step, we identify through those different tool belts which method is the most useful method to use. And then we do a round of treatment using that method.
It's remarkable.
And
And
then, yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say one of the tools I learned at ACEP was applied kinesiology,
Yes.
so that I will often go into meditation and check in with my gut or my intuition and think, okay, which tool is going to be the most helpful for this client? And since I've been doing this, actually, I've been doing applied kinesiology since the dinosaurs were on the earth. When
Me too.
Thank you, Dr. George Goodhart. May you rest in peace,
Yes.
who created or discovered applied kinesiology since I was 22 years old. So now it's just a part of who I am.
Yeah.
So I don't need to use a pendulum. I don't need, sometimes I use a switch. But anyway, I go to my gut, I go to my higher self and say, what is the best tool for this client?
Right.
And it always steers me correctly. So I'm
I
grateful for that.
That's been my experience as well. Yeah,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sure. And so now we've done one round of whatever that intervention is. And at the end of that round, we move to the sixth question, which basically is, well, how did we do? What kind of results did we get from doing one round of that priority treatment method? And we compare the results that we got from a round of that treatment to that starting place, the baseline number
That
that
you took.
or rating that the client did, or if it's not the first round but it's a subsequent round in the treatment during the session, then we compare that number to the last number we got, the number we got the last round around, and based on those results, and there are six different outcomes that could happen after each round of treatment, we make a best decision about what to do next and next and next until it's complete, until we're done.
Beautiful. So, and then when we have used these tools over and over again, I know in my case, I'm reminded of some things that I haven't used as much as I should have. But once we incorporate these tools into our clinical skills, they become second nature. We don't have to go, okay, what's number one? What's number two? What's number three? We already know what to do. And this helps therapy go so much more smoothly and helps the client heal faster or reach their treatment goal faster.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I mean, very, very well said. We what I'm constantly reminding people about when I'm giving training programs is I'm giving you a very, very structured step by step, or even sometimes a script to practice with. So this is for practicing, this is for learning, but what I want you all to do is to become so comfortable with the structured approach that you throw it away because it's internalized and you're now doing it in your own unique kind of way. So I
Exactly.
want people to distinguish between structured learning methods versus being a true artisan,
Mm.
a true artist in how you actually show up in helping people.
And oh, from your lips to creators' ears that we would get this information into all graduate schools.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Okay, if there are any professors out there, anyone connected with a university counseling or psychology program, give me a call because we need to get this into your graduate students so they know how to do all this.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll just say one footnote about how this clarity about these six questions emerged in the first place, which was when I was serving as ACEP's founding president. One of my objectives was to, I felt an obligation, a desire to represent the entire family of energy psychology methods rather than one specific method.
Mhm.
And what I was studying was the question of what do all of these methods have in common, either implicitly or explicitly? What are the eh, secret sauce ingredients? And in studying that, this clarity is what emerged in all the way back in 2000, 2001.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Oh my gosh. And thank you to your creator so that you could download that clarity and share it with all of us.
Yes, well, absolutely. I'm in constant gratitude to my higher spiritual resources and to my willingness to um, not just willingness, but dedication to not let my own preconceptions get in the way of that higher wisdom coming through me.
Yes, what we all strive for. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
David, that is remarkable. Thank you for sharing that with my audience, everybody who's listening and watching. I imagine everybody's taking notes right now. Don't worry, you can watch this over and over again.
Right. And if you're a client or of a therapist or of a coach or of whomever,
Right.
I would encourage you to encourage your practitioner to conduct sessions with you more along the lines of this six ingredient
Yes.
framework in whatever that practitioner's ways of doing that happen to be.
Beautifully said. Yes. David, do you have time to tell us a story?
Oh, sure. An
Okay.
energy psychology story.
Absolutely. We'd love it.
Well, you might imagine I have lots, but I think the most fun, juiciest story I've got is a personal one. I was working in Switzerland in 2004, and in that time frame when I was in Switzerland, my 50th birthday happened to happen. So on my 50th birthday, I took the day off and I was skiing in the Swiss Alps because the training program and consulting that I was doing at that time happened to be up in the Swiss Alps. So that was easy. I just went up to the slopes.
Mhm.
And I was skiing with the daughter of the person who most frequently would bring me over to Switzerland to work there. And so the daughter of this person had been skiing since she was like knee high to a grasshopper, as so many Europeans who live in winter climates do. And so we were skiing. I'm an advanced intermediate skier, and I've been skiing since I was about 9 or 10 years old.
Wow.
I was skiing on a groomed slope, and parallel to it, adjacent to it, was the same slope, but powder, unpacked powder. And so my colleague's daughter was in the unpacked powder, and I was on the groomed slope because I'm not trained in skiing powder. And she says to me at one point, David, you've got to get into the powder. The conditions couldn't be more perfect. And I said, well, I'm not trained in skiing in powder. She said, "You're good. I'll show you how. You'll be fine." So I disregarded my intuition because I wanted a little adventure on my 50th birthday. I get into the powder. She gives me a little instruction, which made sense to me. And now I'm starting to go downhill. And I realize as I'm going downhill that if I don't switch direction, I am going to go into a tree. And so what happened was that after all those years of skiing, my body took over from experience in groomed slopes, packed powder.
Powder.
And so I plant my pole to pivot. My pole goes straight through the powder. Before I can release the pole out of my hand, it snags a root or something underneath the powder. And before I know it, my elbow is backwards. I've dislocated my
Oh
my
my
left elbow.
gosh.
Now, I don't know who in our audience has experienced a dislocated joint, but it's incredibly painful. I'm lying on my back, writhing in pain, saying to my friend's daughter, "You have to call the ski patrol."
Yes.
And as she's and I gave her one other instruction I'll get to in a second. As she's doing that, I I immediately start tapping on myself. I immediately start treating my physical injury trauma the trauma that I'm experiencing, I'm treating it right in the moment. And
Wow.
I've also told her to call a mutual friend of ours who was actually a relative of theirs who had a bioresonance treatment machine, a technology that does energy healing through machinery rather than the way that therapists are trained. And her machine did distant treatments, because this practitioner had a blood sample of mine and she could put the blood sample into the machine to treat me remotely.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
said to her, call that practitioner and have her get me on one of her machines right away. So I'm now doing physical energy psychology treatment and I'm getting energy treatments remotely through machinery.
Oh my stars.
So the ski patrol arrives, takes me down the hill to the ambulance that's waiting. And I am then, of course, taken to the hospital and they have to reset the dislocated elbow. So they put me under, of course, because that's not a reset that you want to do when you're consciously awake.
Right.
And so they do the reset. I come out of the anesthesia, and the physician who did the procedure says, I need you to come back in tomorrow so we can x-ray your elbow to see if everything is fine, because we need to guard against the possibility that in doing the reset, we inadvertently did a hairline fracture, because hairline fractures can happen when you do a reset of a dislocated joint.
Oh.
So I said, fine, great. So I go back to where I'm staying. I keep treating myself with the energy psychology treatments, go back in the next day. The the physician inspects my elbow and does the x-ray, and the physician and he says, no fractures, you're good. The x-rays are showing fine. And um, but I want to tell you, I have never seen an injury as severe as this. And he says, I've been doing sports medicine for a long time. I've seen every variety of ski injury there is. I've never seen a relocation 24 hours after the dislocation was fixed with as little swelling and bruising and black and blue marks as you've got. And I say to him, well, you want to know why? He says, yes. I explain to him what I did. He reacts like a deer in the headlights. He totally freezes over, does not comprehend anything I'm talking about, even though I'm naming it in physician language, because I've done medical grand rounds on energy psychology.
Oh,
So
cool.
I know how to language this stuff so that physicians and nurses can comprehend, at least conceptually. But it blew his paradigm out of the water. He's just a deer in the headlights, and it was totally not receptive. So, is there
Oh,
time for me to do the PS?
oh, sure,
So,
absolutely.
so the PS on the story is I come back to the States, X-rays in hand, and I bring the X-rays into a physical therapist to start physical therapy for rehabbing the shoulder. Meanwhile, my wife, who is a very seasoned acupuncturist, starts doing acupuncture treatments on my elbow, and I'm continuing to tap to do the energy psychology
Uh-huh.
treatments. The physical therapist, who's a very competent physical therapist, he inspects the x-ray, he looks at and tests my elbow, and he says to me, well, I can give you physical therapy exercises to do and they'll help, but I got to warn you that best case scenario, the best you can hope for is 80% range of motion, return of range of motion, 80% of full range of motion. And I had almost no range of motion at that point. And so I said, okay, well, we'll see.
Mhm.
And I start doing his prescribed physical therapy exercises, and they're actually making my elbow worse.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I go back into the next appointment with him and I explain that to him. And I say to him, look, I'm doing acupuncture treatment, I'm doing other treatments. I want you to schedule me for a follow-up evaluation in a month. And my promise to you is that a month from now, I will have 100% range of motion.
Oh, cool.
He looks at me like my little red choo-choo has gone around the bend. Uh, and
Huh?
and so he schedules a follow-up appointment. I go back in a month later and I have 100% range of motion. So I say to him, you want to know how I did that? He says, yes. And I have a complete repeat of what happened with the physician. I explained to him what I did. He looks at me like a deer in the headlights. Paradigm attachment disorder,
Order at the
totally
wazoo.
in
Yep.
full swing, and couldn't on board what I was explaining to him.
The apex problem, which
Yes.
is a whole nother thing. You only understand the highest point that you have been trained in. David, that is a remarkable story. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a true story.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
True
gosh.
personal story. My 50th birthday present to
You'll
myself that I didn't know I had signed up for.
And this leads me to a quick story on my part. So let's see, this is 2025. So New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2023. Okay, my boyfriend and I go out for dinner and we're parked in a parking lot and I didn't lift my right foot. Oh, there was a curb that I did not see. I tripped on the curb, went down on my left side, smashed my left knee.
Oh,
Oh, hurt like heck.
yeah.
So we didn't even bother to go to the emergency room. Went home. It was ice heat. While I'm rehabbing, I'm doing tapping.
Yes.
I'm doing energy healing on the knee. So go in, just have an x-ray to make sure I don't have any fractures in it. I wasn't able to walk for 2 weeks, went to the chiropractor. Anyway, let's fast forward to 2025. My left knee is entirely healed. I'm doing Pilates. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the reformer, which is a moving table in Pilates. So let's see, this is Monday. Yesterday, I was on Pilates with no help, standing on this moving table, arms out, making the table go back and forth with my right leg and then switching over and making my leg go back and forth. No problems with balance, no pain or discomfort whatsoever. So, from not being able to walk for 2 weeks and then limping for 6 months, my left knee is totally healed and totally fine.
Mm. And that, thank you for that. That's brilliant. And it reminds me that I forgot to give the postscript to the postscript. So the follow-up is now 21 years later as we record this episode. I
Yes.
have no pain, no arthritis, and full range of motion in my elbow that was dislocated.
Fantastic. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what EFT tapping stories is all about. Bringing you information from the experts. And anybody who's out there that's going, no way, yes way, this can happen when you learn energy healing. David, my cup overflows in gratitude for your presence here today. It's
Well,
been
I'm so
such a
grateful
gift.
that I'm grateful you had me. Thank you so much.
Oh, I was telling David, there's a little bit of the backstory to this is I've been wanting to invite him to be a guest on my podcast for years. I started doing this podcast in 2016. David is so brilliant. I was afraid to ask him. And then at the recent ACEP meeting, I thought, oh, this is ridiculous, Joan. You've known David since 1999. Go tap yourself and go up there and ask him. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation and for being here today. So, everyone, of course, I'm sharing Dr. Gruder's information both in the audio version and on the YouTube version. So, you can't find a more electric speaker than Dr. David Gruder. So, contact him for everything. And if I can be of service for healing or teaching or speaking, I'm at your service. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. If this has been valuable to you in any way, please share. I really appreciate that. That's what this is all about. David, thank you so much for everything. I am such gratitude for this time together.
Oh, a joy, a real joy.
Boy. Thank you all out there for watching and listening, and thank you, Dr. Gruder.